Welcome to the Air Force Association's virtual Aerospace Warfare Symposium Daily Highlight Report, brought to you by L3 Harris. I'm Tobias Nageli, Editor-in-Chief at Air Force Magazine.
And I'm Amy McCullough, Air Force Magazine's news editor.
The Defense Department will revamp professional military education, putting a sharper focus on joint warfighting.
We all know that an educated force is a lethal force, specifically an enlisted educated force. But what we want to do with that education is, number one, make it relevant, number two, pointed, and number three, timely, to ensure that we're getting the knowledge at the right time so that our people can translate that into expectations with the final outcome of action. Here tomorrow, we're going to go ahead and unveil the enlisted PME vision.
Air Force Chief of Staff General C.Q. Brown hinted the Air Force will launch a new force presentation model soon, one intended to make deployments more predictable for airmen while keeping adversaries guessing.
So we can a little bit more predictability in how we actually offer up forces to the joint team. We continue to give and give and give, which is good, and we have flexibility is a key to air power, but sometimes you got to be a little rigid on certain things. And from this aspect, to build a model so we can actually better track our future readiness. Because I think right now we have a hard time as an Air Force articulating our near-term, our longer-term readiness and how it impacts modernization. And by having a force generation, force presentation model, it's much easier for us to articulate that and show the impacts of, okay, we can deploy earlier, but you're going to leave a hole someplace else.
In conversation with Mackenzie Eglin of the American Enterprise Institute, Brown also addressed force modernization, offering his definition of the term legacy platform.
I've really thought about the question of defining a legacy platform, because we have a B-52 we're going to keep for a while, and typically when you say legacy, your first mindset is old.
Right.
And I really think about it from a capability perspective. Is the capability going to be relevant today, relevant tomorrow? And if it's not going to be relevant tomorrow, or it's going to be overly expensive to make it relevant for tomorrow, then to me that's kind of legacy.
The U.S. European Command is leveraging U.S. space across the continent, says EUCOM Commander General Todd Walters. U.S. military space superiority is critical to being effective in today's great power competition. There is no way to improve indications and warnings and command and control unless you improve your capability to operate by, with, and through space, Walters said. The United States, Russia, and China all recognize that. So the fact that we now have the Guardians on board as a separate service to lead the charge is great for the United States of America, he said.
Competition's also at play in science and technology. Air Force General Arnold Bunch said keeping the Air Force Research Laboratory intact, rather than splitting off a separate space lab, was the best approach for future air and space development.
As we started this, many of the people immediately came out and said we needed to have 2 research labs. And the fact that we didn't do that, I see as a huge success, because one AFRL supporting 2 services is exactly the way that we need to go. Last week, I was at Kirtland and talked to directed energy and space vehicles. This week, I have virtually tried to go to Rome, but weather didn't accommodate. But virtually, I've been at Rome and talking to both. Each had technologies that were going to support the air and the Space Force. No barriers, free flow of information. So to me, that's a huge win.
The Air Force will begin phasing in its KC-46 tanker for operations, with the goal of freeing up older planes for combat deployments. Air Mobility Command boss General Jackie Van Ovos said U.S. Transportation Command will use the KC-46 for taskings that would have otherwise gone to KC-135 and KC-10 aircraft. Air National Guard Director Lieutenant General Michael Lowe said the new tanker performed well in support of response efforts in the nation's capital, noting the Air National Guard and Air Force Reserve collaborated on 47 Pegasus sorties.
Air Force Reserve Chief Lieutenant General Richard Scobie said diversity and inclusion efforts are making headway throughout the reserve. While the service will never compensate people for the blood and sweat of their service, we can create an environment where they feel valued, Scobie said, and that is what we're going to do.
You can still register for vAWS to access all of today's sessions and the sessions to come. Tune in to the rest of the symposium on Thursday and Friday. There are 40 sessions in all.
And join us at 9 a.m. tomorrow for Day 2 of vAWS, featuring Chief of Space Operations General Jay Raymond, renowned astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson, and much more.
We'll follow the morning live stream with 5 live mission domain sessions covering Joint All-Domain Command and Control, the Advanced Metal Management System, Digital Engineering and Advanced Manufacturing, mission support, and more. Look for coverage of all the sessions on airforcemag.com. Thanks for watching.